This is the Future Talk, advancing stability, resilience, and governance in Syria and the region. Please welcome your host, Helga Maria Schmidt, from the Munich Security Conference.
As the host of this very high-level panel, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our panelists for today. First, Her Excellency Reem Alabali Radovan, Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development. Please join us with me on the panel. Then I would very warmly welcome Her Excellency Hind Kabawat, Minister of Social and Labor Affairs from Syria. And let me also welcome Dr. Gesa Andreas von Gaya, State Secretary, Federal Foreign Office of Germany. And my pleasure to welcome Her Highness Sheikha Haya Abdulrahman Al-Thani, Deputy Director General, the Qatar Fund for Development in Qatar. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by expressing my sincere thanks to the Hamburg Sustainability Conference for including this very important session in today's agenda. At the Munich Security Conference, we're delighted to be co-hosting this timely panel together with the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. And I would like to express also on behalf of the Munich Security Conference our sincere gratitude for the long-standing and excellent cooperation we have had. Today's topic, the Middle East, is a major area of focus in German foreign policy. But it also has been one of the Munich Security Conference's central areas of engagement. Today's panel also builds on this long-standing commitment, but also on the insights generated through the Munich Security Conference's Middle East Consultation Group. And I will just show the publication, the report we published in February. There are more copies, if you're interested, available. And just to say, in one word, the Middle East Consultation Group brought together a group of very high-level decision makers, but also civil society and experts from the region and beyond, to allow for a very frank discussion at a moment of profound uncertainty. Its work has underscored how developments in Syria and in the region are deeply interconnected with broader regional dynamics, and how coordinated international engagement can help translate political momentum into tangible improvements of people's daily lives. Syria today stands at a crossroads. The political transition that is ongoing has opened a new chapter, marked by both opportunity but also fragility. At the same time, the Middle East is undergoing significant shifts. So what we will discuss today is how can we use the current momentum for a coordinated, inclusive engagement and support. This panel brings together a very high level decision makers. And let me start with you, Minister Kabawat. Actually, you remember we were together on the 8th of December 2024 in Doha at a conference when the news of the ouster of the Assad regime broke. Syria's new leadership, and of course you are part of it, Minister, has sought international reintegration with remarkable success. At the same time, a sustainable transition will also depend on the active participation of society at large, on political inclusion. So, Minister, what are the most immediate levers to strengthen stability in governments, and what do you do, what does your ministry do to promote social cohesion? Over to you.
Thank you, Ambassador, thank you. And yes, I remember it's great memories in the day of the liberation. Happy birthday again, Helga. So actually, we inherited a very from the old regime, a very system based on loyalty and not a system like social system, not based on needs. So we needed to change this, and this is our priority. And what else I have to tell you? Our priority also to start doing a new social contract. For years, we need to have sustainable future, and we cannot do anything if we don't start this social cohesion and we start doing a new social contract between the people and the government based on trust, based on confidence, and we have to walk the talk in our ethics and principles. The first things we need and a single and national social registry. We don't have. Before it was based on decided who and whom. Today we should have this social registry to be equal for everybody in Syria. There is no no discriminating between religion or ethnic groups. We need to have it all for all. And this is one of the very important things. Then we need to think about a new framework. Our system and our law has been since 1958. So the need now to start doing reform for all the law and the policy. And we started this, Your Excellency. We're doing many laws in the same time, the labor law, the civil society law, the special needs. We have also lots of policy now in place. So we're in like a parallel. So we do every day, but we have also a committee. And what we did with this changing the law, it's not us. We're including all society, and we go city to city to discuss this. So this is also emphasize about the social cohesion and also the dialogue. In other things, we need to have equal rights for everybody. And when we talk about equal rights, it's not about just talking about equal rights, it's about include everybody, especially women and special needs. We did find before that women, it's just like it's a window dressing, people just talking about, we include women, but I don't want include, I want quotas, I want numbers. I want to say like minimum of 30% women has to be participated. In my ministry, we have now 50% women in leadership position. And regarding the special needs, after the war, now we have 27% of special needs and victim of war. So we are doing everything for them. We want to include them. We have a special program now for vocational training and work and studies so they can be included in our system. So we need system to protect women, and this is for us one of the priority, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Minister Alabali Radovan, we heard from Minister Kabawat. She laid out a very ambitious plan for social cohesion, which is the basis for a sustainable transition. So let me ask you, what is Germany doing? Because Germany is supporting the societal and the political transition through development measures, labor market support. So how can Germany support a transition that promotes inclusiveness, including or how can Germany make sure that our programs also contribute and strengthen transparent institutions?
The German government, of course, supports this transition. And, German development cooperation in Syria has been there for a long time. Even through the regime, of course, not in direct contact with the regime. But now that we have the liberation and this great and important moment for a new Syria, we are in touch, and I'm very grateful that Hind Kabawat is here, and that shows that we have a good relationship, that she took the time despite all the challenges that you are having, and I want to congratulate you on your really, really impressive work in Syria, despite all challenges, that you took the time and to come here. Thank you for that. And this, even that we propose to have this panel, shows that it's very important to us, and we are working on this transition also, what we can do from our side of development cooperation. So What we are doing is a new way. For me, it's a new way of also development cooperation that we are going through together. The Minister Kabawat was in Berlin in April because we have a very, very interesting and great platform that is called A New Beginning of Syria. And in this platform, we have 1,200 participants from German Syrian diaspora that are part of this transition, that know very well from their heritage what is needed in Syria, and they have the best contact within the Syrian society. We have great entrepreneurs. We have great partnerships who are helping to rebuild, reconstruct, and also invest into Syria. And this is, for me, leading a new way of taking in. I mean, we have over 1 million Syrians in Germany. And I think we made mistakes in the past, also in development cooperation, not including the diaspora that is there, that they have the knowledge of the country, of what is needed. They have the contact with the people. They speak the language. They know the intercultural sensibilities that we didn't include them. And we're doing that with Syria. We had a great meeting in April. And it was great having the minister there because she laid out her plan, and it very much aligns with what the diaspora in Germany is seeking for. So we have great partnerships also in the health sector. We have clinic partnerships, and we are helping the justice system to begin this transition. And let me end with that very important point. Of course, this way to a new Syria will only be successful if everyone feels included, as the minister said. Everyone feels included, no matter of their ethnicity, religion, their gender, and so on, their physical capability. Syria is very, very diverse, and it is challenging. I have Iraqi heritage, and I know what it takes and what that means to have such a diverse country and population. But everyone needs to feel included. And even though we're looking forward, and the Syrians are looking forward, there is a past that needs to be addressed, and there's injustice that needs to be accounted for. And I think that is very important, and we're helping out to do that by training the justice system to do exactly that, not forget the past, but also to look for the future.
You have both spoken about the need for social inclusion. Now, Syria's investment needs are huge, and Europe and the Gulf countries have become increasingly central to economic stabilization, recovery across the region, and for Syria, of course, in particular. So let me now turn to Sheikha Haya. How do you see the Gulf's role, in particular Qatar's role in this context, evolving in Syria? And how can institutions like yours, the Qatar Fund for Development, support investments that are socially inclusive and make sure that no one is left behind in Syria?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you to our kind hosts for having us. Thank you to my sister, Her Excellency, the Ambassador, the Minister of Syria, for the framing and setting the agenda, because that's what we follow exactly at the State of Qatar and through Qatar Fund for Development. The agenda set in Damascus for the Syrian people, and we have anchored our response plan to Syria with the National Reconstruction Plan that was issued by the government of Syria. So that's on the offset of how we approach the Syrian file, the cooperation with the Syrian government specifically. As for Qatar and the Gulf as a whole, the recent crisis in our region shows you very clearly how behest we are to our geography and how destabilizing issues in our region truly holds us hostage in our own region. And so the Syrian crisis, the Syrian now development, the Lebanese ongoing crisis is not only of regional interest to us, it is of national interest. What happens in Damascus and Aleppo ricochets in Doha and in other major cities in our region. And so our fates are tied, our cultures are tied, our families are tied. I speak personally, my grandmother is Syrian, we had fond summers in Damascus. And to see Damascus and the whole of Syria going through the turmoil that it has underwent for the past, for more than a decade, has truly affected all of us in a personal level, but has informed policy. And you see policymakers now in the state of Qatar that are intertwined with the Syrian fate, dictating the policies, and the policies are with the people of Syria for an inclusive Syria. But Syria has always been a diverse mosaic of a country, and we have never viewed it as anything other than a diverse country, and we've dealt with it accordingly throughout our history. As for development financing in the state, from the state of Qatar through Qatar Fund for Development, we view things, as I mentioned, we anchor our strategies within the framework of national strategies. And so we look to the country, to the recipient, in terms of what their needs are, what the requirements of the country are. We spoke to Syrians and Syrian households through coordination with Your Excellency's office, of course. And what they said is cash assistance is of most importance. And so livelihood has been put into the forefront of our strategy. Energy is another major sector. Qatar's role in the energy supply to Syria has been very prominent, very well covered, and so I won't go into the nuance of things. But that came about because of the Syrians and because of the Syrian government advocating for that as a priority. Without energy, without access, equitable access to energy, there is no development, there is no real progression. And so that's how we started. I know we haven't delved really deeply into Lebanon, but Lebanon is another side of the same coin. We didn't differentiate our policies based on the border. We approached Lebanon in the same exact way. We advocated for the Lebanese people, for their livelihoods, but then we prioritized the energy sector as the main proponent of our development agenda in Lebanon. And that came about in a 400 million commitment towards the energy sector of Lebanon that is blended in its nature. And so there's a grant component and then an investment component of things. And that's our bet in the future of Lebanon and the future of Syria, because truly there is nothing that will be developed in the state of Qatar to the Syrian people that won't have the inclusion of the Syrians and the prioritization of the development of Syria at its forefront. But again, I have to speak about the crises in our region, because not only is the current ongoing crises, but the recent attacks in Syria, the ongoing attacks in Lebanon, these are consistently destabilizing any development efforts that we, as Qatar, but globally, as global partners, are trying to advance in these regions. If we do not have that consistent stability and we fortify it with policies that guarantee continuity and further stability, then there will be no influx of foreign investment. There will be no attraction of a diversified economy within our region specifically. And so Qatar approaches things in a multifaceted way. We have a very strong development agenda. We are a leader in ODA within our own portfolio as a DFI, through Qatar Fund for Development. But we also work quite extensively in our foreign portfolio and our social portfolio to try and come at things from all perspectives. Thank you. I'll leave it here.
You have highlighted the need to rebuild consistent stability, indeed also as a precondition for a sustainable recovery. And actually in our report, this is part of the discussions we have had in the Middle East Consultation Group, the need to rebuild trust in the region was actually highlighted by everyone. Now let me turn now to State Secretary Dr. von Geyer, because the German Foreign Minister and the ministry has led diplomatic outreach, including through high-level visits to Damascus, and more is in the pipeline. So my question to you is, what can Germany do? How can Germany support a regional stability framework for Syria, but also, of course, the neighboring countries?
Yeah, thanks very much. And I should maybe start with two compliments. One is to your country, Madam, which is doing a tremendous mediation effort in the current crises or wars to end them and to let the whole region benefit of peace. So thank you very much for that. And the second is to you, Madam Minister. Just allow me to say that given the circumstances of wars going on and the turmoil in the region, it's astonishing how stable your country remains currently, even hosting refugees from Lebanon. So compliments for that. Now, more precisely to your question, for us, for the German government, despite those wars going on, which need our focus, of course, Syria remains very high on our priority list. And it's just about 2 months ago that we had governmental consultations here in Berlin, and we created a strategic partnership between our countries. And there will be a joint commission or a joint committee having a session in a few days from now in Damascus. So things are going on. We're not becoming impatient. On the contrary, we're trying to move things forward bilaterally. And this is one element of a bigger mosaic that we need. Of course, development policy comes in. We have to go beyond. Your country will need investment. Therefore, we need the circumstances ready. Hopefully soon we will discuss that. Because in the end, it's security in combination with prosperity, which will be the solution for the stability question in your country and beyond in the region. So what can we do? We're working, of course, on the EU level as well. There is partnership between the Europeans as such, with your country, with others in the region. And we're trying to promote and to support bilateral confidence building between Syria and its neighbors. Lebanon, I mentioned, your country is even hosting refugees. And thinking beyond the current war, there is, of course, the prospect of prosperity in increasing trade between those countries. Your neighbor, Turkey, of course, has a priority given to security concerning your border, but prosperity might be the next step. And the same goes for Iraq. We see the first steps now as the Strait of Hormuz was closed. We saw energy export from Iraq via Syria going north. So things are possible, and we try to work on both security and prosperity.
And I can only join my appreciation for the great work Minister Kabawat has done and has done before, working at the time, and I should share this, in the Syrian opposition in Geneva, in the Geneva office, and supporting particularly women peace builders at the local level, which is now the basis for the ongoing transition and is a recipe for ensuring social cohesion. I think we have time for a second round, if I may. We have 15 minutes left. And I would start again with you, Minister Kabawat. So looking ahead, what would success look like in Syria? In 1 year, or maybe even further ahead in 5 years? Over to you.
Yeah, before I talk about success, I just want today show the appreciation for Germany because of you stood by us for the last 10 years. And that's why we have a great civil society, and for Qatar, we're like more than family and sisters. So I need to talk, before we talk about successful, I need to talk a little bit about civil society. Civil society, it is the reason for the country is holding together today. Because government cannot be everywhere, but civil society can. And we don't, if government can be fierce and scared from civil society, they're not strong government. So we don't, we are now dealing with the civil society as partners, maybe because I'm one of the civil society. And they've been also very, very much, Helga, they're very much involved with the social cohesion, with the dialogue, because dialogue is not about dialogue together, it's also about working together, because we can spend time in talking, but when we have the real jobs and real work, this is where we can do. And reconciliation will start with the civil society, with doing some good work together, and this is what's important. As what I see in 5 years, there is, first of all, we have a strategy, and our strategy is very much aligned with the national strategy, because in this government now we talk together, we coordinate together. For me, it is about Syrian family returned from the as a refugee, come back to Syria, and they have work. And this woman can do the work, and she has also women boss and women bosses of the boss. So we have women who are being very much involved. And also, of course, the national registration work, I wanted to be also there. You just talk, Your Excellency, about diaspora. I want to see diaspora coming back to Syria, bringing all their knowledge, and can come and do their registration and can do their qualification, and we can also use them. And I want to see special needs getting a job, and success also to have people in Syria working together, no matter what is their background. Yes, you talk, Your Excellency, about, we talk about trust. Trust today is very important, but we need also to have people to work. Without jobs, this will be keeping the tension. So one of our ideas, and we talk with GIZ about it, it's about vocational training. I want to have a real vocational training. Many of the youth in Syria, they couldn't get education because they were in the camp, they're stuck, they don't have a real education. If I don't give them a job, if I don't give them a hope, they can be radical, they can be doing all kind of chaos in Syria. The most important is, yes, we need power and we need to have electricity and everything, but we need to invest in the Syrian people. And those, they are not few, there are so many. So when we do the vocational training and people can start going back to their destroyed village and they can build it, this is also a peace. This is civil peace. And then we can start really talking about one united Syria, because we don't want to see that Raqqa and Hasake and other cities are being isolated. We want them all to work together. And if we have social registration united, and we have vocational training together, and we have civil society who can be active and they can work all around Syria, this is where we can have a strong country. We need to support civil society. We need to have the continued dialogue between government and civil society. Never, never exclude anybody. Everyone should be at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think we all share your vision. Minister, Syria's stability is also linked, of course, to developments in the neighborhood. And Lebanon was mentioned, you know Iraq very well. So where do you see also opportunities for cross-border cooperation in the different sectors, be it trade, energy, services, that will also help not only support Syria, but strengthen resilience across the region?
I think the opportunities are huge. At the same time, let me underline what my esteemed colleague from Qatar just said. Our development, our success in development is so dependent on the security situation in the region. And the crises in the region, the war in the region, it really hits hard. Whatever we did in the past months, in the past years, it affects it. So, of course, we will and we want to work to also in development cooperation to look for trilateral coordination. I would love to extend to the Gulf states who are very active and very leading in their development cooperation in the region. I think we should look look out for not add more to fragmentation. The needs are clear. The Syrian government has a plan, and we look out for what we can do to support this pathway. With Lebanon, the same way. There's also a great minister for social affairs in Lebanon, another sister, a very great female leadership in the region. I'm very happy to see that. But also we are looking for a way to support Lebanon. I pledged 177 million euros a couple of months ago when the crisis started in the region, for the whole region, for Syria, for Lebanon, for Jordan, especially when it comes to Syria, for the refugees coming back to Syria, but also for the West Bank and Gaza. So we need to see the whole region there, and we need to look into that. And we are also looking to strengthen our ties within the European Union. The European Union itself is a big donor of development cooperation in the region. But as member states, we also want to interlink and see what we are doing. So I think what is very necessary now is to look at the region as a whole, to look how we can support the interconnected ties, but also to not make the mistake to do what we think is right, to hear what the countries need, what is necessary. And this is the approach we're also going in development cooperation. I did a reform on that. I'm looking for a more eye-to-eye relationship based on common interests, to look out for what is needed for the country, and not us making plans what we think in Germany or Europe is needed. And I think we are showing this also today, that this is the way we're going. We're having the Syrian minister telling us what is needed, and we're looking for how we can support her in that very vital vision for Syria. And this is the way to go for the whole region. And again, I think in development cooperation, we need to work closer with the Gulf states. I was the first German development minister to travel to Saudi Arabia. I'm looking forward to coming to Qatar as well. To extend and talk about the different interests, but also what we could, if there's any possibility to do things together, or to see what, for example, Qatar is doing in energy and we're doing something else. So make it efficient and smart so that it really works out on the ground. I'm looking to that. And again, thank you both for traveling here and for having this very important discussion with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I think we have heard a very impressive layout as regards the Syria's, but the region's economic development, resilience, recovery. But I want to come back to something Sheikha Haya mentioned in her remarks, and this is the ongoing crisis. And the Gulf countries are disproportionately affected by the ongoing crisis. At the same time, we've heard some interesting ideas flagged also in terms of how could a possible regional security architecture develop plans for regional cooperation. We have heard statements by the Prime Minister. So over to you. Is there anything you could share at this point? And then I will ask the same question to the State Secretary to get European perspective.
Hopefully we'll complement each other with our responses. But I would just like to remark one thing, because my first instinct now is to go, one by one by my distinguished panelists and speakers and thank them for, their personal interventions and any references made to Qatar. But it dawned on me that it's very easy to congratulate each other when we're like-minded people. We see the world in the same way. We believe in a communal joint development of the world, but we also understand quite deeply that our national development is tied to development across the board. And so we're not working in silo. We truly believe in the cooperation discussion that we're trying to advance and advocate for. And so, it's a wide congratulations to all of us here. Germany has led in the development agenda with Syria, not only with the funds that you have provided, but also with the convening that you have set in the framework. Her Excellency has led, of course, on the ground with the people of Syria. And I think, I don't speak on behalf of the Syrians, of course, but I'm sure if I speak to Syrians, they will speak about the advancement that has occurred in the past few years of the stability of Syria. And we see that tangibly on the ground. And we hope for more prosperity to the people of Syria and the people of Lebanon. And to our region as a whole, our fates, I mentioned, are tied together. We understand that deeply. And part of what we try to do is to join forces. And so Her Excellency, the Minister of Germany, mentioned a trilateral cooperation and, advocating and working together, complementing each other rather than, competing or just scaling up our own projects. And one of the ways that we're actually doing this, and to share it, because of course it's done with the German government, is that we're working right now with BMZ to set a framework for our partnership. Syria is, of course, at the forefront of that framework agreement, in which we will coordinate our funding to co-finance projects on the ground in Syria and many other countries that are of joint interest, and that we foresee prosperity and scaling up of our efforts there. And so that's one of the approaches and tracks that we are currently conducting. We're looking to develop that in the next few months. We already have a set framework with the British government, with the French government. And those are successful models that we're now looking to replicate with the German government and many others. And so that's how we work in the development fund. We look at our development partners to try and co-finance together to scale up our efforts. And of course, we work jointly government to government with our neighboring governments, with governments of priority, to either work to support their national plans in cases where that is needed, or to look for opportunities to support their neighboring countries. And that's a way of reinforcing regional stability again and again and again, but always keeping development at the forefront of our agenda. Because if you look at His Highness the Emir's speeches, he always starts with a development agenda, and he always references our development agenda based on our priorities. And so His Highness sets the agenda for us as the DFI of the government, and we follow suit. And we are very fortunate to be part of a country that has always prioritized its national development and the regional development. And so we will continue to do that. We have our own national development plan that we need to bring to fruition and success. That's due to be delivered in 2030. And then, of course, we look to the national development agendas of other countries, and we see how we can complement that. And these are the two sort of tracks that we do in terms of how we develop and support countries' development.
Thanks for this, but still the old saying, there is no development without security, but also no security without development, still holds true. So there is a need to navigate the current very difficult regional security environment, but there may be prospects for more regional cooperation, not only on development, as you have been laying out, but also in matters more related to security. So with that, I turn over to the State Secretary.
Thank you. So I will maybe complement your answer with some tough security policy issues which have to be solved for that security and prosperity be given one day. And there is tough things to be solved. Given the current wars, that's maybe my first point, I think all countries of the region will think twice about their security arrangements for the future. There is two things no country on earth can escape. That's history and geography. And those countries will be bound to their neighbors, whether they like them or not. But it has to be covered by a system of security and stability. This will take time, and we as Europeans will try to be as helpful as we can, but in the end it's the region, and it's the countries of the region who will have to decide how to arrange their security once this current wars have ended. This is my first remark. My second is now about your neighbor Lebanon. Hezbollah has to be disarmed. There is now concrete steps proposed how to do that, but it's easily said and it's difficult to be implemented. Nevertheless, it's a necessity. And again, what are we doing? We are bilaterally and through the UN and through the EU assisting the Lebanese armed forces and the Lebanese security forces, because in the end, they have to be strengthened up to the point for that they can do that job. Again, a process that needs a lot of energy and a lot of political input. The same goes, of course, to the question of a nuclear device in the hands of Tehran. This has to be excluded. It's not really in the memorandum of understanding yet how to do that. So negotiations will go on. One of the best expertise is with you, Helga. You know what I'm talking about. This is tough to reach that goal, but it has to be done. And so I could continue. So there is a lot to be done on the security policy side, but history shows that if the countries of the region find a joint approach, and if there is a good and strong partnership with countries from outside, I think Europe is ready for that partnership, then a prosperous future can be achieved. But it's gonna take a while.
Thank you. We have 2 minutes left, so I will give the last word to our minister. Let me just say from my side already a big thank you to our panelists. And let me say that I think this discussion has shown really the need for a strong, probably even stronger cooperation between Germany, Europe, and the Gulf for the benefit of the people in the region. And my last word on this, for me, this has been very useful and helpful because we are also planning a potential second round of the Middle East Consultation Group, also upon the request of some members of our group. So your input has been most valuable. But with that, thank you so much from my side, but over to you, Minister Kabawat, for the last
If I have 1 minute, I just want to emphasize on 3 things about our relation with Lebanon. Since the liberation, it's a start a new era. There is half of my cousins are in Lebanon, and it's like there is long time family relation, but this is the time when Lebanon and Syria now it's our relation based on respect, on friendship, cooperation, and we're very happy both sides about this. Number 2, we talked about investment. I can tell you, the best investment anybody can do in Syria is to invest in the people. We did see how much the Syrian people, they are so successful. You see now here in Germany, every single Syrian refugee is a successful story. So we need to invest on Syrian so they can go back to security and stability of Syria will be based on Syrian people. They got good jobs, good education, and then we have reconciliation among them because people in the same village, there is now divide. We can do it if we have everybody at the table. Last and not least, we need you to come to Syria soon because we keep talking, but we want to see you in Syria. So thank you.
It's a promise, we will come. Thank you so much.